today on the New Human podcast, we have Wahneta Dimmer. And Juanita, actually, we just met today. Another mutual friend of ours had referred me to you. And I'm so excited to get to know you and for our listeners to get to know you and what you all have to offer and who you are, Juanita.
Yeah, it's great to be here, by the way. Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Wahneta Dimmer, and I'm from central Wisconsin,
Mm-hmm.
a farm girl. Grew up running around in the woods, and my mom would kick us out after breakfast and go, I don't want to see you till lunch.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of wandering around, just kind of being one with nature and experiencing that. Yeah, grew up milking cows, so being around the animals and their energy and understanding that they needed a calm environment and loving hands to be able to produce the best as those dairy cows could. It was fun growing up working with family and experiencing that together, like the sense of accomplishment, a good day's work, when you turn the light off at night. That feels really good, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, I ended up here in eastern Iowa because of a man, my husband, Todd. We moved back to Cedar Rapids about 30 years ago. And in 2000, then I went to massage therapy school. Just wanted something different in my life. Didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I wanted something I could do for a living where I could maybe set my own hours and raise kids. I wanted to be able to have a family. And massage therapy really seemed like it would fit that role. I remember saying to Todd at the time when we were just dating, and I said, what if I hate rubbing people's butts? And he sort of seemed irritated by the question, but he was like, well, if you don't like doing it, then you can go do something else. And it gave me this sense of freedom to go try something new and not worry about whether it worked out or not. Kind of a little freedom in a cup, so to speak. And of course, I've never looked back. Like, I enjoy what I do so much.
Yeah. Were you raising your family? You're saying like massage therapy and stuff and starting Hands in Harmony. Was your children still at home doing all that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we waited to get married and have children. So my son is just 22. He's a senior at Iowa State. And my daughter Ava's 20. She's a junior at Iowa.
Okay.
So they were just little
Yeah.
kids. I had them after I graduated from massage therapy school. So they truly grew up with touch from moment one.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I will say they did go through this period in high school, those teenage years where they'd be like, oh, God, my shoulder hurts. Like, you want me to work on that? Nah, I'd rather get an adjustment, like a chiropractic adjustment. It's more efficient.
Oh.
And I'd be like,
How did that make you feel?
well, it makes Mama's heart hurt a little, but now they've come back around again.
Oh, for sure.
All types of modalities have a place and time. Do you know what I mean? It was just sort of their teenage, angstiness that made me take pause.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So raising them, was it pretty crazy with your business? Diving into something new or?
I was already, but in massage therapy, 3 years, 4 years before I had kids. Todd and I are both self-employed.
Yeah.
So we really tried to spend as much time with them as we possibly could. So maybe I would see clients in the morning and then be home with them in the afternoon or vice versa. We would alternate off and on as much as we could so that we could have a hands-on experience with them.
Yeah.
Building bonfires in the backyard and blowing bubbles in the summer, stuff like that. I wanted them to have those experiences. Yes, they went to Montessori and, went into the public education system, but we spent as much time with them as we could. So
yeah, that's important.
they absolutely are both going into business. They're both business and finance majors in their respective universities. You can't run small businesses and not talk about small business at the dining room table. Every night at dinner, we were hashing out like what went right, what went wrong. And so now they're like light speed ahead of any other business major that didn't grow up that way because they've got concrete hands-on experience from being little, like, and just being a part of these conversations. We allowed them to pitch in, like, what do you think?
That's so
Or
important.
if we needed help, with the office, we're like, okay, we got to go fix the washing machine, or one of the rental properties needs help. Let's go do this together. It'll go faster that way. You know what I mean? Again, family working together, and, you know,
Yeah.
more hands make less work, so to speak. So
Right. That's what I think with being self-employed is such a honor, and sometimes I take it for granted because of those situations where I can just leave work if I need to be to go be with my children or spend more time with them and not be such on a set schedule where I can't do these certain things with them. So that's why I was
yeah.
wondering because I'm kind of comparing my life to yours and raising a family and business adventures and how that all ties together.
I always thought I wanted to raise my children on a dairy farm, right? Because again, there's such great work ethic, and again, working together as family. Like, I learned so much from that, and I have so many great memories. My mom and I used to milk cows and do the crossword puzzle together. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was kind of one of our bonding things.
Mhm.
Made the time pass, and we could have conversations about whatever was on our minds. Um, but second best, running, multiple businesses and raising your kids. They still, I think, got the best of it. Did we
Yeah.
work a lot? Yeah. Were there
Yeah.
things that we maybe missed once in a while?
Oh,
But we
yeah.
did our best, to be there for them. So,
For sure. So let's go into that a little bit. So a massage therapist, correct?
yes.
And then did you immediately go into Hands in Harmony or how did you get there?
So, when I went to Carlson, they actually had a program, and they still do partly, but at the time you did 2 days of clinic, one at the school. A second day you had to create like an internship in the public. So go out and build a relationship. And I'd gone to a smaller health club in Cedar Rapids in 2000, and they didn't have room for a massage therapist. They had a little broom closet that was not big enough even for a massage chair. So then I went over to the Midwest Athletic Club on the Southwest side, and they had a room that I could share with a friend of mine who's also has his own business, a physical therapy business. And we shared a room then together. And so I did massages every 45 minutes. I do a half-hour massage from 6 a.m. in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. I thought, if I can touch as many people as I possibly can, maybe I'll get great experience, and I'll have some clients when I graduate. And so that was like 6 weeks or 8 weeks, I think. And then when I finished up and graduated, then the MAC asked me to stay. So I
Mhm.
rented a room there for about 3 years. Well, then it came time I was going to have my son, and I really didn't know, what is motherhood going to be like for me? How much do I want to work? Do I want to keep going at this pace? Like, maybe I don't want to come back to work at all. Like, I
Mhm.
really left those possibilities open. So then I went off and I rented a room with some friends of mine who were with some chiropractors in Cedar Rapids. And did that for a couple of years before I started Hands in Harmony.
You knew though in the back of your head that you were going to branch out on your own?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't have a plan.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about this, is I would tell you I never had a plan from the start. Now, other people, maybe like my Reiki master, when I took Reiki in 2004, she told me several years later, she goes, yeah, she goes, I totally thought you were crazy. I'm like, what do you mean you thought I was crazy? She goes, well, after the day 2 of Reiki 2, she goes, I asked everybody what they were going to do with their new Reiki skills. And you told the class that you were going to start a healing center in Cedar Rapids. Well, I totally must have been channeling or something, because I do not remember that. But so in 2006, my husband helped me. We helped remodel the space. That was kind of the deal with our landlord, is that
Yeah.
I'll pay for it, but you guys got to do the work. And so, blood, sweat, and tears, he helped me create that beautiful space that we started in. And that's where it began, right there on First Avenue. So,
Hands in Harmony.
yeah,
It's a beautiful name.
that was kind of the intention, was to, well, hands working together in harmony,
Mhm.
right? So, and
Yeah.
the name has served us well, I think.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about the business as far as like what do you all offer for services there?
Yeah. So We have 35 employees right now, over 300 different services. Therapeutic massage and body work is the core of what we do.
Mhm.
So people coming in for maybe a shoulder injury, low back injury, maybe pre or post surgical massage therapy. And around that, then we build on like couples massages and spa services, even larger spa parties. So we have a very diversified
Right.
business.
And what else is going on in that building too?
We got all kinds of things going on in that building. So we just took over in 2016. We took over 2,500 square feet upstairs, and I share that with my husband. But I have a small teaching space and a boardroom in my private treatment room. And then downstairs, we took over the 2,200 square feet down there January last year. And
Jeez.
I have a larger classroom I can fit for like massage therapy continuing ed. I can fit 12 massage tables in there. So have, 25 students or so in that space. We also rent it out for like bridal parties and baby showers. And then I have my library there with all my resources, and we have a staff area too. So a couple little mini kitchenettes and things so
Wow.
staff can sit and relax and eat, or guests can come and use it as well. So
Yeah.
it's a busy space.
It sounds like it. I mean, when I pulled up, that was my first, I think my first massage, might have been my second, but was at Hands in Harmony. And, when you walk in, it kind of seems somewhat small. And then there's how
Yeah.
many rooms. And every time I'd go in there, I'm like, I'm lost. Can you just point me to how to get out of here?
I always remember it goes in a circle
It goes in a
all the way
circle.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're doing a lot of continuing education and bringing in classes there as well.
Yeah.
Um,
So Hands in Harmony is the main business. And then with my friend Ellen, who's been with me 15 years, we started Empowered Healing Institute. And so we offer continuing ed classes in the Midwest and around the United States, either on site in our location or we travel. Like
mhm.
I've taught some classes in Omaha, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and we've gone to Florida quite a bit as well. So, like, what kind of classes? So, I focus on craniosacral therapy, lymphatic drainage. Those are my two main ones,
Mm.
or a combination of the two. And I have several different classes that people can delve into. Energy work classes, so Reiki and traditional Chinese medicine. Ellen is like ashiatsu, where you do the massage with your feet,
Feet. Mm.
cupping, facial cupping, gua sha, things along those lines. She gets more into like the fun tools and things that you can
Yeah.
combine into the treatment. So,
Yeah. Wow. So going into some of those modalities, we were talking a little bit off air about craniosacral.
yeah,
Can you delve into that a little bit deeper for our listeners, exactly what it is and
exactly.
what's happening?
Yeah. So, what's happening for each client is the experience is going to be individual to that client, right? And what your life experience has been. But from kind of a pure definition standpoint, um, I, as the practitioner, are tuning into your divine self or your inner physician, like feeling into your body and what story is your body telling? Where are the tethers in the tissue that are blocking the flow of the fluids? So it could be your cerebral spinal fluid, your spinal fluid, could also be your lymphatic fluid or your fascia or all three. The body very much gives us the roadmap for the injuries and its insults that you have,
Yeah.
incurred in your lifetime. From a craniosacral perspective, anytime you have injury, illness, you're grouchy, you're not sleeping great, you have a headache, you have chronic pain. All of those are signs that there's a glitch or a tether in the system that's preventing your cerebral spinal fluid from flowing correctly. And as a practitioner, our job is to help open things up so that the fluid can flow. So, the science behind it is we recreate our cerebral spinal fluid 4 times a day. We used to think it was a closed system. And now we know that it drains off through the lymphatic system. So, what happens if that excess fluid can't flow? Well, you could have brain fog,
Mhm.
insomnia, headaches, like grogginess, inability, kind of not thinking as clearly, maybe ear problems. So if you're tight in the neck or shoulders and your lymph can't flow, or you've had maybe multiple concussions in your lifetime, or you're not drinking enough, you're dehydrated, that
Yeah.
fluid can't flow as well, and you're going to start having symptoms. So Cranio works great for, migraine headache sufferers, anxiety, insomnia, anybody who's had any kind of brain trauma or head injury in particular, very beneficial for.
Hmm.
So
How long does a session typically last?
it depends on how old the client is.
Hmm.
Um, Babies and children, I allow them to choose how long the session goes. If a child, if they're fighting to be on my lap or lay on the massage therapy table, then maybe I'll transition them to be on their parent's lap so that they're comfortable. But as soon as they wiggle and run away, then it's done, right?
Hmm.
I never want to force a relationship with a little client like that. Adults, I'm gonna have you step into your pain a little bit, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're here, let's figure this out. So, I don't like to do anything less than 75 minutes because I feel like there's magic that happens after 60 minutes. It's like the body really lets go, the mind lets go, and you can really start to unwind into areas that maybe you wouldn't get to if you did a shorter session. Usually, when people are on my table, they're doing 75 minutes, 90 minutes, even up to 2 hours. So
Wow.
long sessions. But then I might include a little bit of regular body with work with it, or maybe some sound as well,
Hmm.
depending on what they have going on.
Yeah. So, what does one expect? Like, are you massaging to a certain extent, or are you holding certain positions? For our listeners that have never experienced this
Yeah.
before, what would they, um, physically, what would they expect?
I always say, because clients will ask me, they're like, well, what are you going to do for me? Because I'll
Yeah.
ask, like, why are you here? What can I do for you?
Yeah.
And they might tell me a little story, or they filled out our written intake form. And so I have questions for them. Like,
Mhm.
tell me more about this injury or accident. Like, where's your pain? What makes it better? What makes it worse? How's it affecting your daily life? So then I can start to hear their story, see their body language as they're talking. And maybe are they touching somewhere else in their body that they didn't put on their intake form? A
Mm,
lot of times you'd be like, do you have any surgeries? No.
mm.
And then, like, halfway through the session, well, I did have a C-section in 2003. Things like that they just didn't even think were relevant to maybe the fascial lines in the body. So they'll ask me, like, what are you going to do for me? I'll be like, I'm not going to know until I lay my hands on you. So
Mhm.
I do a general assessment as I come up the body, kind of listening into where there's stronger connections to the fascia. So, like the ankles, the knees, the hips, ribs, shoulders, and then settle into the skull. And the body will tell me kind of where the tethers are. I feel for kind of what a normal rhythm is. And wherever it's kind of bumpy or glitchy, be like, there's something here. And I might ask them more questions like, did something happen with your left hip? Or what am I feeling here? You
Right.
know? And then we begin the work. So it all depends. If there's someone who has eye issues or maybe they've had concussions, we may end up spending a lot of time in the skull. It's very light hands on to
Right.
start with, but I'm focusing in on the relationship of the skull plates to each other. Like, do I feel the flow of the fluid in their skull? Like, what's happening in their tissue as it starts to unwind?
Mhm.
We can start to see things released throughout the rest of the body. So again, you just kind of follow that trail and allow their body to do its thing. I say I'm more than anything, I'm listening, and in that really intent listening, like careful, caring hands and intent listening, the body feels safe enough to hear its own story and say, like, wow, I totally forgot I left that like that.
Mhm.
And it resets. It starts the unwinding process on its own. I may do a little bit of manual massage in the beginning. Say you come in with migraine headaches. I'll assess and see where the client is tight. And then I do the craniosacral therapy, maybe some lymphatic work to help those fluids flow. And then at the end, I'll be like, well, how's that feel now?
Mhm.
And 9 times out of 10, like the pain is gone
Right.
or dissipated
Yeah.
tremendously.
Holy cow.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, and you teach this, correct?
Yeah, I teach it also.
How does one stumble in to learn this? Like, what could one expect if I wanted to pursue this?
I usually do 2-day classes
2-day
because that's
class?
usually enough because you're learning. We do quite a bit of scientific learning too, especially like the brain anatomy and what is the process and function of the cerebral spinal fluid and how does that interplay with the rest of the body. Um, so we have 2 days. So we do some lecture, some discussion, and a lot of hands on, a
Mhm.
lot of learning how to listen and what am I looking for? What am I feeling here? And listening to how then that work, that hands on work affects the other student that you're working on, right? Because
Right.
that's how we learn. It's like you might not know what you're feeling. You feel something, but you don't know what it is. But then your partner gets off the table and says, my headache's gone, or I had this huge release in my shoulder, or my vision's more clear.
Mhm.
Like any of those things give you clues then about what the work you were doing, like how it helped them.
Right. Wow. And this is something, so how did you stumble across this?
You know, it's an interesting story. So, as a massage therapist, your first 2 years as a licensed professional in Iowa, you don't have to take continuing ed. You have to prove continuing ed once you get to year 4. So I was in my second year, approaching my third year, and I asked my mentor at Carlson College Massage, his name was Mario, and I said, what should I do for continuing ed? And he goes, I think you should take craniosacral therapy. Now, the funny part about that is Mario is a deep tissue, take it to the bone and force it to comply type guy. So I was like, okay.
Mm.
And then I asked my friend Ted, who's the physical therapist, I said, what do you think I should take? He goes, I see a need for lymphatic specialists in massage therapy and to benefit our patients because a lot of times insurance will maybe cover 4 to 6 lymph with a physical therapist after maybe a mastectomy, for instance, or another surgery or injury. But then we need to refer them out to someone else in the public who's qualified to do that work, which then ends up being massage therapist usually. So then that year I took craniosacral therapy, I took lymphatic, and then I took Reiki 1 and 2. So that's how I kind of jump started. I just asked my
Mhm.
mentors, like, what do you think? What should I do?
Yeah.
And I followed that guidance. So
Yeah. Do you feel like after learning those modalities that your massage therapy became better or more in tune? Or did you notice a difference from doing massage therapy before you learned that to after?
those three things combined changed who I am as a human.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, therefore it changed my work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was a deep tissue, take it to the bone and force it to comply, right? I'd have clients who'd be like, you got a stick for me to chew on while you do that? Or you got like a shot of whiskey in here?
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, all right, you came here for pain relief. You have a
Yeah.
knot. I'm going to work it out.
Yeah.
You know, it was force. Well, now it's all about I'm going to enter this space energetically with my consciousness and ask the body what it needs for me instead of making an assumption
Yeah.
about what it needs. I'm not pushing or pulling things around as often as I am just listening. So
Mm-hmm.
it's completely shifted my work. There's still value in deep tissue specific work, you know, when you're feeling into an injury. But how about those injuries that just are chronic and they don't go away?
Mm-hmm.
That's where craniosacral therapy and lymphatic can often help you get to the bottom of either a physical tether or a mental, emotional, or spiritual tether that is kind of locked in the tissue that the client maybe has forgotten about.
Right. Because I think a lot of us forget about that where we have these certain bodies, and oh, my knee hurts. Yeah, I tore my ACL playing football and whatever, blah, blah. And then over the years, it continues to hurt and hurt and hurt. Well,
But it
we
should be
just,
healed.
yeah, yeah, we healed it. And we
Mhm.
think, that, oh, well, I had surgery done and this was fixed. But what else is going on there? There's a deeper level. And I mean, how much of that do you think really, I think all of it really manifests into like certain illnesses and diseases
All of
from,
it.
yeah.
It doesn't matter what modality you're talking about, like even um, lymphatic, for instance. Vader and Wiesleader worked together and really started working the lymph in Europe. And they really believed that like microedemas, so little pools of fluid stuck in the tissue, were the precursor to disease or disease. From a
Mhm.
traditional Chinese medicine perspective, disease or illness or injury is just blocked or stuck energy,
Mm.
or maybe energy running too fast, right? Like
Right.
manic.
Yeah.
Again, it's all about bringing it back into balance. So, yeah, I think it's the core of it.
Wow. So is this primarily what you're doing then right now is craniosacral?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any interest of doing massage, or do you still do some of that?
I still do some massage.
Yeah.
Like I think it's beneficial. Like for instance, I had a woman who started seeing me probably 6, 8 months ago who had a very significant traumatic event. Um, she was kind of part of a group and there was some trauma involved. And when she first came in, she was referred to me and um, I felt like she just was so stuck in fight or flight, like she wasn't even in connection with her body. And so the first time I worked on her, we talked for a while and then I just did a regular massage. Like, cause I wanted her to feel back into, well, what is going on with your legs or your hips?
Right.
Because she was so stuck in her head, she wasn't connected to her physical body at all. Well, you can't heal tethers in your body if you're not even in the vessel,
Yeah.
right? So that's kind of where we started. So to combine that sometime is really, really important.
Do you think that's more and more common?
It's huge.
I mean, like, a friend of mine, we've talked about this, like how many people aren't actually in their body.
Hmm.
They're just all up here in their mind, and just walking around and doing things. And then this manifests that, like, well, now I got cancer, or now I got this. And, you know, yeah,
Or we'll see it too, where people will come in and they'll be like, I need deep tissue. But your hands know. After doing this 20, 30 years, you know what the tissue needs. They'll be like, you need to push harder.
mm,
Even if you hurt me, you have to push harder. And
mm,
it's like, I sometimes wonder if they're so numb
mm,
that the only way they feel it is if you cause them pain.
mm,
But ultimately, it's the last thing we should be doing. We need them to calm back down and start tuning back in, like peel away some of that armor that they've put
right.
on. They're holding themselves so tight they can't feel anything.
Yeah, the onion effect,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know? Wow. So, a little off air, we talked about part of what you do with this craniosacral. It was in the Amish community.
Yeah.
Can you delve into that a little bit? Because to be honest, like when you first told me that, I'm like, the Amish getting craniosacral? Am I missing something here? You know?
I get that a lot,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
I get how do they know about craniosacral therapy?
Right.
How do they
Yeah.
even find you? Those are
Yeah.
probably the two big
Do they
questions.
have the internet or something?
They do not have internet. No electricity, no cars.
Yeah.
Um, so in the summer of 2021, a woman from the Amish community in Delhi went to her neighbor who's in our community and asked if she could help her find a cranial sacral therapist for her son. He was probably 6 months old at the time. And he just wasn't sleeping great, wasn't eating great, and was a little cranky. She's
Mhm.
like, he should be happy. He's just a baby. Like
Right.
something's out of balance for him, is what she felt. So her neighbor Googled and found me in Cedar Rapids. So her neighbor actually drove her down that first time, again, because they have to hire a driver because they don't drive. And I worked on her son, and she rebooked for the next week. And he had improved symptoms. He was happier and sleeping better. Um, and another mom came with her child that second appointment. Well, then the third week, like 7 moms came down. They had to like hire a cargo van to get all their kids in there. And I was working on this woman, Sarah, and working on her son and his hips. And he was maybe like 18 months or something. He wasn't walking well. He was more like shuffling instead of
Mhm.
walking. And I said, Sarah, I'm a farm girl. Like, I know how hard you must work every day. I said, you're leaving half your family at home. You're leaving your to do list at home. I said, what if I came to you And she was thrilled at that idea because then she could continue to manage the house
Yeah.
and all the work that she had to do without having to pack half the kids in the van. And sometimes the van rides were hard on some of the kids didn't really like that either. So the fact that they could stay home and get their treatments,
Yeah.
and it just sort of
In their atmosphere.
yeah, in their atmosphere, and
Yeah.
it's sorta like me going home, like,
Mhm.
farm atmosphere,
Yeah.
like, home cooking, they treat me really, really well, and,
Yeah.
I get to be around the kids, and it's super quiet, right?
What a beautiful
Yeah,
circle, you know?
it's beautiful. Well, then last spring, 3 of my gals from Delhi had been into Hands in Harmony, and then they love to thrift. So they went to Stuff, Etcetera, and were shopping around for, like, kids' books and toys. And there was another Amish woman in there from Kelowna with her daughter, and she approached them and said, "Hey, I need a craniosacral person for my daughter and my family. Do you know anybody?" And they're like, "Well, actually, we do." And
Mhm.
they had my card in their purse, and so now I go into, south of Iowa City and then, of course, north of Cedar Rapids
Yeah.
communities as well, and it's a blessing. It's so much fun and
Right.
great wholesome atmosphere. They do work
Yeah.
hard, but they also have fun.
Right. You got to,
Yeah.
with as short as this life is, it's just when you said that to me, I was like, how, what? Because even myself, like coming across it, I'm sure I experienced it sooner, but I guess paid for a service for cranial sacral,
Yeah.
and it's like nothing I've really ever experienced. And my question for you with it is this something you believe anybody and everybody can do? Or do you have to be somewhat in tune with yourself to be attuned with the cranial sacral?
I think that's 2 very different questions.
Yeah.
I think anybody can do anything.
Yeah.
I think you are only limited by your mind
Mm-hmm.
and your sense of curiosity and fascination. I do believe that when you start any kind of healing work as a profession,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's massage therapy, Reiki,
Mm-hmm.
craniosacral therapy, any of these things, you have to be doing your inner work or you're not going to be as effective for your client on the table. Like if you're completely locked down or your heart is closed or you're not open to the possibility that maybe that childhood trauma is the crux of your shoulder pain or your low back pain, like that's a limited belief system that is going to prevent you from really gaining a good, clientele, I feel
Yeah,
like.
tuning into
Yeah.
them.
My physical experiences, emotional, mental, and spiritual through my lifetime,
Mm-hmm.
trauma, injuries, all those things, and, the introspection that comes from that. And that helps me be a better practitioner in the treatment room. Like
Right.
so much more open to the possibilities of how much someone can shift
Yeah.
when they've had some of these things happen. So
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. You got me thinking more and more and more like, I want to do this.
you could come in and get a couple more sessions.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, for sure. So are you teaching Reiki then too as
I
well?
do. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that quite often or
I hadn't taught it in a while. My friend Jenna, who works for me, she had kind of picked up and started teaching some Reiki classes. And then a friend of mine, Dusty, who's doing a 300-hour yoga teacher training, kind of an advanced class, she goes, "Hey, would you teach Reiki 1 and 2 to my 9 yogis?" And I said, "Absolutely."
yeah.
So we actually just started that last night. It's going to be 3 Tuesdays culminating in the new moon. So we're going to talk
Mhm.
about kind of manifestation and different things. And um, I do enjoy teaching it because
Yeah.
again, it's between the 3, lymph, cranio, and Reiki. They really truly changed who I am as a human.
Right. And let's go into that. The lymphatic.
Yeah.
What is that? Like what does one expect from that? What are you exactly doing and what is the point?
Yeah. So our lymphatic system is really our sewer system of our body.
Mhm.
Like you could not have a bowel movement for 3 weeks and you'll be fine. You might not feel great, but you'll be fine. If your lymph system ceases to flow, it's about 72 hours you'll be moving towards dying,
Mhm.
because that's how much fluid it moves through the body. It's part of the immune system and also part of your parasympathetic nervous system. If you are in a state of fight or flight, your immune system is turned off. So think about how much of the American population is in fight or flight on any given day,
Yeah.
right? Between stress and current events and like life,
Mm.
traffic,
Yeah, life.
notifications from your phone, all the different things. If you're stuck in that state, you don't sleep good, you're not going to be able to fight off, bacterias and viruses and different things as well. So you can get lymph for a couple different reasons. One, just to boost your immune system and take you out of fight or flight. It
Mhm.
takes us 7 to 10 minutes of a regular massage session focused on lymph to take you into that parasympathetic, that peaceful kind of rest and digest state. We also do quite a bit of work for women who've maybe had a mastectomy and then they start having lymph backflow problems in a limb. And then, of course, pre and post surgical lymph. So, um, helping the body recoup. It helps with scar tissue healing to help keep fluids from getting stagnant, like
Mhm.
Bader and Wiesleader talked about. You don't want that fluid to get stuck in the tissue. You want it to keep flowing towards the bloodstream so it can be filtered out. So anytime someone at pre or post surgery, I like them to come in, or if they have swelling after a knee surgery or an
Right.
ankle sprain, it's let's get those fluids moving away from that injury so that it can heal more effectively.
Mhm.
So, a lot of different reasons you'd get lymph.
Yeah. What about I was just thinking like cancer, like your lymph nodes. Like,
Yeah.
so what about cancer patients that have cancer in their lymph nodes? Is that something that you can work with
It's a
or
case by case basis. So,
right.
when I went to massage therapy school, 26 years ago, it was like, oh, you can't do much with cancer patients, right?
Yeah.
All the cancer patients I've worked with over the years, I consult with their oncologist. They're like, do what you do to make my patient comfortable.
Mhm.
Right? Again, so we consult. If there's something at that level, then we're going to consult with their medical team first before we do. We can always go to Reiki. Like we get
Mhm.
referrals from Mayo Clinic for lymph, cranial, and Reiki all the time.
Right.
They'll specifically say, hey, this is what we want you to seek out. So if they can't maybe have lymph drainage specifically, then we'll go to reflexology, Reiki, working on the feet or working on the energy field. Again, the risks have never been proven. Your lymphatic system flows all the time
Right.
by itself. So, a lymph massage will generally accentuate that flow or kind of give it a boost for about 72 hours. We're not doing anything theoretically that the body's not already doing on its own.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? We're just
Yeah, you're just guiding a
we're
little bit.
guiding it along,
Mhm.
giving it a little boost or propulsion, so to speak, helping it where it's forgotten the route, right?
Right.
Maybe an injury or surgery could block a flow. You want to reroute it perhaps.
Right. So like let's go into the medical side of this a little bit. With Mayo, you said getting
Yeah.
referrals and stuff. Do you see now versus 20 years ago? Are you becoming more of value to the hospital system as far as like patients go? Like before, it was all I have my doctor and he said, go do this, this, and this. And I stick with that. You get these pills, you're in this rehab. But do you see more and more people doing massages and craniosacral after that? Like you're becoming busier where the collective is opening up to this holistic side?
Yeah, it's interesting because you kind of have this dichotomy, right? You know, um, Modern medical can't make money off massage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pharmaceuticals can't make money off massage. But the power of touch is so healing for the human spirit. And I think we need to put a little more emphasis on that.
Yeah.
With like HSAs, health savings
Mm-hmm.
accounts, things like that, a lot of people are coming in and they'll invest for next year. Like, how many massages do I want to get? And they can get that taken out pre tax dollars, which is a wonderful way to look ahead and kind of set
Right.
that self care routine. Um, and on the other side of things, the doctors might be saying, well, we want you to take this drug and do this and do this. A lot of times it seems like now the patients they're having a little more self research and going, okay, I hear you, but I'm going to take a time out here and I'm going to go see what else is out there. Massage is not the end all be all.
Right.
And the same with all the modalities we do. But if they can make the client more well rounded and be more relaxed and maybe release some of the traumas or emotions that are caught in the body, how can that maybe shift then the physical symptoms that they're having in their body?
Mhm.
From a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, if you fix the energy field, you fix the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, the rest of it's just going to fix itself,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So we need to open our minds a little bit, I think.
Yeah, well, in the West, I mean, I think the East, they got a good grasp on it right now, and I feel like we're just a little bit slow here, but it's happening. I mean, I've seen it with friends of ours going through cancer and they're trying different avenues,
Yeah,
that aren't traditional. And that makes one wonder though, like, again, I just keep going back to the body and a form of disease is if we would had those emotional or spiritual traumas already taken care of or worked through rather than later, then it wouldn't have manifested in this ailment. And here we are now trying to
right,
undo it, you know?
right.
So, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it kind of takes me back to, what what's the rest of the world doing, which includes my Amish community.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go down into Mexico for alternative and modern medicine
Mm-hmm.
because there's more options there.
Right.
Um, you know, they're game to talk about stem cell treatments.
Mm-hmm.
They're game to talk about chelation therapy and herbal wraps and soaks and massage and
Mm-hmm.
uh, enemas or colonics, like all these different things to like cleanse and heal the body. Um, they're open to where that's sort of considered alternative for us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's because they haven't been programmed to it. It's not where you turn on the TV and there's an ad running on a commercial.
Pharmaceutical.
Exactly. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm getting older now, but I feel like the rays of cancer is becoming higher, and it's touching a lot more people I know
Right.
personally. And it's like, well, what's going on here? Like, what can we do? And what I found, as you in this field is that the self care routine. I mean, if we keep staying on top of our own self care, what that does for your body, not only your mind, and then it becomes kind of infectious to, the next person you're talking to at the
Yeah.
grocery store.
Yeah.
So it's that big circle is self care. Uh,
I think a missing component of self care truly is time
yeah,
and then our diet. It's like junk
huge.
in, junk out.
Hmm.
Um, so many people don't know where their food comes from, or they think that anything through the drive-through is food
Hmm.
because
It's
it's not.
yeah.
It's a chemical
Hmm.
pile of stuff. It's
Hmm.
not food. And when you've grown up a farm kid like we
Yeah.
have, or like I go out to the Amish community and they go out and they cut the vegetables in the garden and bring it in and toss me a salad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
that fresh. Like I grew up with that. Like
Yeah.
that's food. It tastes so different.
Yeah.
You
It
you
does.
can't go back to fast food or something out of a box
Hmm.
when you're used to like the nourishing taste and feel of real fresh food. So
Hmm.
again, we could that's a whole nother podcast, right? Like
Yeah.
that junk in, junk out conversation.
I
What's
do.
real and what's not.
Well, I do like how you said it though, because even that's another thing is all these autoimmune diseases that are happening. And well, we don't have a cure for it, but I don't even know how it happened. But it's like, really? You don't know how it happened?
Yeah.
Like, you look at your lifestyle. Let's just start there, you
Yeah.
know? And yeah, it's hard though, to be honest, like the food. I mean, even ourselves and our family, we're trying to be as mindful as we can with our family. And even I get some physical ailments too from certain foods that I
Yeah,
eat. Same with my 2-year-old baby. So it's like we know we shouldn't do that, but then yeah, they're at a birthday party and they have a birthday cake and a little bit of ice cream there. And it's like, sure, why not?
right.
And then it's like, well, gosh dang it, so there's a balance side of it.
There is a balance,
Yeah,
right? Again, everything in moderation. At some point, like even my daughter is sensitive to dairy,
same. Yeah.
and she's sensitive to bananas. And it's like she knows now as a college student, if I eat that, I'm going to get a stomach ache. I'm going to get a headache. I'm probably not going to sleep great. Um, I'm not going to feel good for a couple of days. My skin might break out,
Mhm.
right? She's Now she's old enough to make a conscious decision to go, yeah, today I'm just gonna do it, right? The
Mhm.
penalty is worth the crime type thing.
Right.
When she was little, she loved ranch, and she would break out all around her mouth when she would eat ranch, but she couldn't stop eating ranch, like it was her thing, right?
Yeah.
And now you look back on that and go, "Yeah, there was something there that she was allergic to or sensitive to
Yeah.
that she just couldn't tolerate." So,
For sure.
yeah, pick and choose your battles with kids.
Yeah, you have to, but it's like they get that first taste of, that whatever. I'm just gonna go with cake and ice cream. I mean,
Yeah,
I think everybody loves cake and ice cream, but it's like at some point, you have that, and then it's like, well, I'm too busy raising my family. Well, let's just go into town and get takeout of some sort.
right,
But again, I talked to another friend of mine, she's got a big garden, and once you fast, you don't eat for a while, and you have a certain vegetable or a apple, let's say, it tastes completely different than if I just got done eating cake and ice cream and now I grabbed an apple and or vegetable. Doesn't taste near as good as
yeah,
that did because there's so much going on in there that's spiking all of the, dopamine in your brain and
right.
everything where it's as before, but you get to appreciate it. Like you said, when you go out to the Amish and they're like, hey, would you like a salad or whatever? And you're eating and it's just how nutritious it is, and
Yeah.
vital life force energy,
Yeah.
you know?
When our kids were, I don't know how they were, probably 8 and 10 maybe when we started this, maybe a little younger, but some of the meal prep things that would come in the mail.
Hmm.
And we would say, "All right, who's making dinner tonight?" And they would stand at the kitchen counter on a chair and, like, chop the vegetables and,
Yeah.
read the directions together, and it was, like, a really great way to teach them how easy it is to make a really good, healthy meal, but then also how fun it is to do it together.
Yeah.
And now they both just love cooking. Like, my
Yeah.
son's got an apartment, and he always takes fresh meat and vegetables home, and he's always cooking for his roommates.
Yeah.
It's you
And
teach them good things now, and they'll take it with
oh, for
them.
sure. And I think even as, the US goes, I mean, they're starting to implement certain things with dyes and stuff. So that's,
Yeah,
we're seeing some movement for some change and stuff because it's been a long road.
yeah.
Huh. So what can you tell me about the future with you then, Juanita? Any future plans you
Mm.
have?
My future is continuing to support Hands in Harmony.
Yeah.
My goal is always to create a really beautiful place for the clients and my therapists to do their best work. So to continue to support that, whatever that means. Continue to see my Amish clients because
Mm-hmm.
they bring me joy. I'd also like to garden more, and I'd like to paint more, like
Yeah.
draw and paint. That's my thing. And I love to travel.
Lot.
Yeah, all the
Are
things.
you going to be slowing down here soon?
I don't know what that means.
I love it.
I don't know. Like, I get up pretty early. I'm an early bird, so I'm
Yeah.
usually, I'll set my alarm 3, 4 days a week for 4 o'clock. But even if
Mhm.
I don't set my alarm, I'm awake usually by 5.
Yeah.
So I get up and just
Start doing.
start doing,
Mhm.
maybe it's a farm girl thing. My mom used to always come to my side of the bed, and I may have been a little crunchy as a teenager, but she'd be like, sweetheart, do you want to come help me milk the cows this morning? I'm like, yes, mom. But
I couldn't imagine hearing that. It's like I'm hearing mine like, it's time to get up, get up. We got to be up in 10 minutes. Hurry up, get out there.
usually she'd wake me up, especially when it was really nice and we would walk. We had a half mile between our house and where the dairy farm was. So we would get up, get dressed, and then we'd walk that, half mile to. By the
That's
time you got there, then you were awake and ready to.
Yeah, that's crazy though, that far away
Yeah.
from your actual house.
Yeah. So we had a 5-acre woods that I grew up on. And then, I don't know, when I was 3, 4 years old, they bought this farmland just down the road.
Okay.
So it wasn't very far,
Right.
6 blocks, whatever.
Right.
So, yeah.
So a couple other things before we wrap this up here. How does one begin to discover the journey of their own self-healing, and taking that next step to hands in harmony and starting with themselves? Like, do you have a little roadmap you could give to our listeners that has worked for you, or ideas that might help our listeners?
Hmm. So they're on their kind of their search.
Yes.
I think starting by booking either craniosacral therapy or Reiki or a
Mm.
combination session, um, just to kind of explore getting back in connection with your body in a process that could also maybe put you into a little bit more relaxed or meditative state, particularly like craniosacral therapy or Reiki
Mhm.
can do for you. Um, helps reset you, physically, mental, emotional, spiritual.
Right.
Like, so then you walk out the door and you have a clear perspective.
Mhm.
You can you're more calm.
Yeah, where to go next.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
of a sudden, like, answers can come to you from a sense of peace and calm and clarity versus like anxious anxiety,
Yeah.
right? We don't make our best decisions when we're stressed,
No.
like, and under pressure. So if you can calm your central nervous system and then sit
Mm.
and maybe think about what's in front of you, what decisions do you have to make, or what are you trying to get to the core of within you.
Mhm.
Sometimes people know, like, look, I have this trauma from my childhood, feels like it's coming back around,
Yeah.
I need help with this. Other people, they don't know for sure, maybe, or
Right.
they don't even realize that maybe what they experienced maybe caused them some angst or some physical
Mm.
symptoms. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
They don't
Yeah.
know it till you get on the table and then you start working through it and then they start thinking about a situation that happened or a fall or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
kind of hold our stress in different places.
For sure. Yeah, it's maybe some people too, like, I don't know where I was trying to get at, what angle I was trying to hit was that they don't even know how good it feels to feel good. You know what I mean? Where you
100%.
you get in that grind for so long where it's just work, kids, family, and repeat. And you just
Yeah.
keep doing that and they don't take any time out for themselves. And, even to just have that aha, well, I don't have time to go get a massage. I don't have time to go meditate,
It's that self-care piece, right?
Yes.
It's so interesting because over the years, I would say the predominant group of people that knew how valuable an hour of turning themselves off is, that self-care,
Yeah.
massage, meditation, are your CEOs.
Mhm.
I've been blessed with many from the Cedar Rapids community that have been on my treatment room table on a regular basis. And, they knew they would come in once a week or once a month just as a reset,
Mhm.
right? Maybe they would talk about how's your business going,
Yeah.
Juanita. They
Yeah.
always wanted to know
Oh,
how
yeah.
I was doing as
Mm.
the fledgling business in town. But then also, like, I remember one said to me once, he's like, I was talking about some opportunity that had come my way. And he goes, well, Juanita, you've come to the place and time in your life where you don't have to swing at every pitch. And I thought, okay, this is a copacetic relationship, right?
Mm.
Like he has something it's like the universe puts people in your
Mhm.
path.
Yeah.
But so the CEOs have known. And I think now too, as our Couples massage, we call it kind of our gateway drug to massage. Like the women drag their husbands in to get a couples massage.
Yeah.
And then they realize, oh my gosh, my shoulder doesn't hurt anymore. My low back feels better. Or, gosh,
Yeah.
I'm kind of happier, right? Because the
Yeah.
pain has been turned down. So I think there's different ways that people get in the door to.
Well, I was just thinking about that when you said couples massage, and that was my first experience into this world was with my wife, a couples
Thank
massage.
you to her.
I'm thinking about, that's a really good selling tool for you. And not only for you, just humanity, like we talked a little bit off air about the feminine and masculine.
Yeah.
And, how do we get some of that masculine to bring in some feminine and vice versa, because it's, as a male, I said to you, it could be intimidating to be vulnerable, to let my guard down now and show you who I really am is very challenging for some of us. So it's, but when you would step into that role and you feel it and it's like, okay, I'm going to be back, and you book the next session and here we are.
I think we're, several things we could dive into there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why we provide, like, we have the 2-person whirlpool unit that people can soak in before their massages. And it's like they have that 30 minutes to just soak in the tub and relax and kind of look at each other eye to eye. You get back
Mm-hmm.
to down to who you are at your core. And I think you're going to get along better, talk to each other better, even listen better.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, especially post pandemic, it's like instead of taking a vacation, they'd come to Hands in Harmony once a month because that was like their date day.
Yeah.
Even though they might go to Hy-Vee afterwards and get their groceries, or to Home Depot to prepare for that next,
Yeah.
home project or whatever. Um, but yeah, it's a good way to start the process at least.
Mm-hmm. You're doing good.
Life is okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
really good, actually.
It is.
Yeah.
And just all you've did, for humanity and just helping people, just starting with Hands in Harmony, the business name, but then like thinking about the lingo of it, like Hands in Harmony.
Yeah, it's interesting. The journey, like I said at the beginning, I would say I never would have said I had this plan,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what I was going to do, and this how many people I wanted. I just walked out the door every day and kept doing, and it just kept building and growing. So yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
journey. It's been fun. A lot of learning, right? A lot of growth. Thank goodness I'm not the same person as I was 30 years ago. But
That's
life's been good to me.
yeah, that's important, and to reflect on those moments, what did you say earlier with was it checking the box or something you said that you don't have to always do now? You're in that point of your life where you don't
Yeah.
have to do that anymore,
Yeah.
and that's a pretty beautiful place to be.
It's
Yeah.
nice to just kind of sit back and, watch my staff and even the clients kind of have those aha or healing moments, whether it's, in their own self journey or helping
Mm-hmm.
their clients, for my staff. It's really nice to see that growth and to know we've created a space that's that safe for people. So
Yeah. You did awesome.
I couldn't have done it without my husband. So
Mm-hmm.
he's been super supportive of my crazy ideas the entire time. So
Yeah. Yeah. You should be proud of yourself. I know you
thank you.
are. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have any final messages for our listeners?
I just think it's be authentic as you possibly can in
Mm-hmm.
every interaction. And if you don't feel you can be authentically yourself, then maybe you're not in the right space with the right people.
Mm.
So seek that out for yourself, for that kind of self love. Um, and yeah, we don't know what okay is going to look like, but everything is absolutely going to be okay. One of my faves.
Oh, wonderful. So next, where can people find out if they want to be in contact with you.
Yeah. Um, any direct connection through the Hands in Harmony website, so myhih.com, comes right into my personal email inbox. They could always call the office and leave me a message, otherwise, shoot an email if they want to talk to me personally. If they want to get on my schedule too, that's the same. Email in. I keep it pretty locked down just because I'm
Hmm.
managing a lot of different, facets of the business in and out of Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
But I love to see new clients, and if someone makes contact, I try and get them on my table. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.
And of course, we're on Facebook and Instagram and
Hmm.
all the things.
We'll include that in the show notes and everything. But
Perfect.
thank you for this
Yeah.
today.
Thank you.
Like this was just, it was beautiful. And all right, guys, thanks for tuning into today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And remember, hit the like and subscribe button. And if you have any questions or anything, don't hesitate, reach out to us.